Hey there, it's time for alignment. And this is my old Porsche 911 behind me. I was calling it the Mac and Cheese Mobile, Mac for short. And it needs a alignment. It was basically just put together. Bolts were tightened without much regard to alignment. So I have purchased some tools to help me with that. A few things here. Of course, I bought things used. This is a quality tool by Longacre. These are the bubble levels to set the caster and the camber for front and rear wheels. And these are corner weight scales, also used. These are probably 10, maybe 12 years old, I'm not sure. They're hardwired, there's 4 of them. This is the readout for that. So we'll measure, how much each tire is putting towards the ground. And then this bar system here isn't quite done, but this is going to allow me, this hangs on the back of the engine bay, and this allows me to run some strings along the side of the car, parallel to the center line of the suspension. These bars here are what the string's attached to. They have some little grooves here on the end, and I've machined those on there so that the strings will be absolutely parallel to each other, and then also parallel to the center of the car. Here's another tool that I made this week. This is a kind of a peace symbol, but it goes on the wheel and it has these little rubber buffers here, so it touches the wheel, and that allows me to push this gauge right onto the end so we can measure the camber of the wheel, and it works for any 15-inch wheel, but I'll show you how I made this and all these other tools right now.
Garage time.
You might wonder, why not just take it to a place, get it aligned? And I have no problem with that, but I want to do it myself. I love a good challenge, and this car, you remember, I put a lot of adjustability into the suspension and the chassis, and I am not even done modifying the suspension. So doing it myself is going to allow me to do this many times and evolve the car with better components, try different suspension settings, and just be able to really understand how it's done and how to perfect it, what needs to change when something's not working right on the car. So a little bit of a taper on this side, 180. So I'm just going to keep sanding until everything's 180. That's the lowest common denominator. This is how the feet look on the peace symbol. There's going to be the rim, and these parts here that I measured with the micrometer. That's what contacts the rim and gives me a place to mount the gauge. Here's what the gauge looks like. So it has a flat surface on here. This will go up against the rim, and then this will get mounted onto here with a bolt. It's got a thread there. So I'm going to drill a hole now for that, find the center of this, and then this will be attached just like so. This part here slides up and down, so let's try to fit it on the wheel and see if it's going to hold it. I fully expect we're going to have to use some rubber bands on the upper support so it doesn't just fall off. You just need to round off these corners right here. They're too sharp for that lip on the braid. This stuff is skateboard grip tape. See the logos on the back. This is right from eBay. Should work well. This stuff is Teflon sheet, and it's actually really slippery. It's a woven Teflon. It's not a solid Teflon, so I'm not sure how durable it's going to be, but it's cheap, so we'll give it a try. So the base plate's aluminum. This is stainless steel with the grip tape on it. You can turn the wheels in the front and get it to just the 20-degree mark, which this lines up with here. This would be 20 degrees right there. That's why there's so many of these crisscross lines on here. You just got to make sure it follows the same line all the way across. Have to rotate a little more. So that would be a 20-degree line right there. So you get the wheels turned 20 degrees. That's important for the caster measurement, and that's what the bubble gauge does. It just allows the suspension to relax immediately, so it goes right to ride height. You can do all your alignments at actual ride height without having to roll the car in and out of the garage. These are also available. These look very similar to a product available from BG in the UK. I'm going to put a link to those guys. I did take a lot of influence from them. It's not illegal for me to use this on my own purpose, but if you want to buy some, I'm not going to sell them. Buy them directly from the originator, BG. They are in England, and by the time the shipping came here, it was going to be pretty expensive, so I decided to make my own. But at the end of the day, you can use square tiles from Home Depot, the vinyl flooring. You can use bags of grease. There's lots of different ways to create slip. So this is just one that I liked. I like these lines on here. It's pretty easy to fabricate, although I used a CNC. Here's the concept on the string method. I have these grooves precision machined into the bar. This is the front bar, this is the rear bar. I'm just showing you them together right now. But that's going to guarantee the strings are parallel to the car. So that's the left, same is true on the right side, has those machined grooves in it. And I'm going to support this aluminum bar off of the car as opposed to the jack stands. The advantage of doing that is as it goes up and down on the lift, you don't lose the reference of the strings relative to the car. If it doesn't come off the lift exactly the same, you could lose your measurements. So this is going to be supported off of the latch panel here in the rear. So I need to build a frame to support that bar. This is there to protect my not so painted bumpers. Okay, back here at the rear of the car, we have most of the frame done. There's some tape underneath there protecting the yellow paint. Also, there's some bumpers back here that are a little thicker rubber. But that's gonna hold this bar here, but it needs a connection between here. So let me show you what I have planned for this. This needs to be adjustable up and down, and then this bar needs to be able to go left and right in order to get the center line of the car, even with these lines here on the end. I wanna do something like this out of aluminum with 3 holes that intersect each other so I can raise the bar a little bit here. That'll be a finite adjustment. And then there'll be some holes where it attaches to this bar, and that'll be some larger adjustments and probably slotted holes and stuff. And then this will just slide through there. And then to capture the bar from left to right, there'll be a thumb screw here that's going to collapse this bar up against the backs of those holes. And so that'll prevent it from sliding. But I'll have very fine adjustment left and right, and then some coarse adjustment up and down. This is probably better to make on the CNC machine. I'm out of time tonight, so I can't just whittle this out of aluminum. So I know you guys are probably curious about how much the car weighs. I have not put them on the scales yet. I don't know what it is. I want you guys to leave your best guess. Remember, it's a 911 with a 912 engine, a 915 transaxle. There is, fiberglass bumpers, stripped out interior, no sound deadening. So I think it's going to be on the light side, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Just guess the weight, and we'll find out in a couple weeks or maybe next week how much it is.